The cold autumn nights of November are setting in, and I find myself under moody skies of shadows, drawn to my favourite records of a darker nature. Trolldom is the quintessential record of dungeon synth, a music scene that around the end of the noughties seemed to spark renewed interest after gathering dust from its early origins linked to Scandinavian black metal. I've waited some time to talk about this one, as time has taught me it's the particular type of record that you save for the perfect mood, for then its minimalist, amateurish exterior transforms into magic. The fourth of 15 at the time, Lord Lovidicus Records, Trolldom is the pinnacle of the early era when the sound was purest and the tracks were performed on a cheap synthesizer keyboard, captured through a microphone and pasted together in an amateurish spirit that forged much of the album's charm. Its simple and effective recording technique gave it two key aspects that appeal greatly to the ancient, eerie, nostalgic sound associated with dungeon synth. Aesthetically, the low-fidelity charm is achieved instantly. The imperfections and blurriness of the instruments play perfectly into its antique theme, forging an atmosphere of the forgotten and the mysterious, unknowable past. The imperfect performances reinforce this. Mistimed drums and keystrokes left in create a sense of decay, lost to the half-life of time, as if these are the remaining glimmers of a world and time lost forever to the cosmos. This alone couldn't make the record what it is. Its low fidelity faces up against a subtle sense of minimalism, as many of the songs phase between 2 to 3 synth lines with short, simple melodies which play to grander themes. The power of these tunes playing to its vision lets one reimagine the song with a lavish folly of instrumentation sounding equally as impressive. In this inspiration, Lovidicus taps into the heart of the shrouded, ambiguous imagination for worlds of might and magic lost. It's an idea, a spirit that only captivates a few minds, but for those of whom it makes sense to, a world of fantasy awaits behind these odd, strange, and wonderful collection of songs. Most of the songs have a fairly linear progression, moving through each set of melodies and moving to a conclusion. Most of the tracks tend to have a climactic moment where the song stops in its tracks and breaks to a wash of sweeping synths that amplify the mysterious tone of these songs. The instruments mostly comprise of a deep bass synth, some emulated string sections, and a lead instrument like a bell or a harp or somewhere in between. Alongside them, the ever-present thud of a tom drum keeps pace with an unappealing tone. Once again, its simplistic and stark nature plays into the mystery, and in some moments the beat gets a little more complex with snares and hi-hats. Mostly though, it's rigid, sharp, and some of the cymbal sounds are rather harsh given there is a single sample being repeatedly played. If there is one trick up his sleeve, it is the use of stereo sweeping, which doesn't contrast the record's tone. The only vocal element is the occasional samples from what I believe are pre-Jackson Lord of the Rings movies. Many of his records have strong ties to that world of fantasy, but it's not the focus here. Tracks names like Sorcery and Merlin's Tower make it no secret of its wizards and magic theme, which spark the imagination for other worlds where nature is imbued with unexplainable powers that can be manipulated by those who can will it. For me, I see the moss-swept castles surrounded by fog like on the cover, hidden chambers, secret passageways held under moonlight, and secret knowledge hidden behind lock and key in a world gone by. Undoubtedly his strongest record in a discography that offers a wealth of variety now. And so a casual note at the end here from me. I wrote this blog over 4.5 years ago, and something that I didn't really quite touch on is how overplayed this record really was. When I first discovered it, I absolutely binged it, and as I pointed out, it's a special record for that particular mood, and that mood doesn't come around too often anymore because I really overplayed this one. But it is a fantastic low fidelity dungeon synth record, and reading the description of the record, I felt like maybe I could have used more language to kind of describe some of these songs. A lot of them are meandering and lonely and conjure up some very peculiar moods, but that tends to be what encompasses the general tone of mystery and nostalgia that dungeon synth is. And so if you're into the genre, this one's a classic. You have to listen to this if you like dungeon synth. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to see some more of my music blogs, go check the website out. Every page has over 1,000 articles sorted by artist, year, genre and more. Just hit Ctrl F and have a search for something that interests you. You can find a link to the blog in the description box down below, where you'll also find links to my other YouTube channels. Check them out if you are curious. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to subscribe to catch the next upload.